Don Kuhl is the founder of Connections, and prior to starting Connections, he was the founder of another mission-driven organization called the Change Companies, which delivers behavioral health, behavior change curriculum and materials to people in correctional settings, treatment settings, correctional supervision settings. So he has this history of mission-driven work and saw the need after retirement to really fill a gap that exists in our society around the loneliness epidemic. What resulted from that is the Connections event that we know today, which is scaling out and becoming a larger initiative. And we owe credit to Don Kuhl for what this is becoming.
I started a company 35 years ago called the Change Companies, and we were all about helping people make major positive behavior change. When I left, I said, oh, hey, Don, what are you going to do next? And it dawned on me, I thought the greatest need we had was to help people connect. So then when I was looking at things, there was this great study done by Harvard University that talked about taking over 800 people way back when as to, okay, we're graduating or starting at Harvard, other people in Boston that were way on the other end, let's follow them for their whole life. And every 2 years they would interview them. And throughout all of this, they wound up finding what made people healthier and happier was their connections with their spouse, with their kids, with their neighborhood. And so I really felt this true connections between people were really being lost. How can we change that? How can each of us start to really build those relationships with each other? And so that was actually the starting part of my thinking about if I'm going to serve again, at my age, with how lucky I have been, I said, how can I give myself, how can I give some of my wealth to this huge purpose of really helping people to connect? Because the Harvard study showed that that's what counts. If you connect more, if you're really close in your relationships with those people that really count, you're going to be healthier and happier. So that was really the start of my thinking, hey, let's do a Connections. One of the things that has been an opportunity for me is to know many very bright people, a few of them researchers at major universities, then in my own community here in Carson City. I'll tell you, there's so many bright folks. So I just started to talk to all of them. Said, okay, if you're going to start a movement, what is it? What can you do? And our thinking was that storytelling, man, that's the glue. Storytelling is the glue to put people together. So that's how our Connections meetings are structured, where we have a person who tells their story. Then, based on their story, the group, whether there's 30 people there or 100 people, we break up into small groups, 10, 12 people, and then they take what was learned from that story, and then every single person has a story of their own. And that's where the magic takes place. In those small groups where people are talking about their youth, talking about what worked well in their life, where they really screwed up, what happened in a positive way. And that's the magic. We get people talking to each other, and connections, friendships are formed in that way.
That was a real turning point in the whole Connections program because it became interactive. It became deeply meaningful for all the participants. Instead of just being told about something, they had a chance to think about it and talk with each other about it, which added an entirely different dimension. We used the term story sharing, realizing partway through the development of this program that it was more than just storytelling by one person, it was story sharing with each other, and that's really at the heart of Connections.
So now we have Connections meetings all over the place in Reno, Carson City, Lake Tahoe, Minden, Dayton, and we're saying we're getting some magic here.
Given the local growth of Connections and the number of people that are now turning up at our gatherings and the number of people who stepped up to become facilitators who have an interest in growing Connections in our region, it's clear to me that this has the potential to expand across the country.
We're learning what works and maybe what doesn't work, and we're building products based on what we're learning to share throughout the country.
Carson City is an exciting place to be right now because it's really the incubator of Connections. It's where we're experimenting with different approaches to decide what's going to work on a national scale. So each week we're fine-tuning, we're taking feedback from attendees and looking around and thinking through how can we optimize this? How can we fine-tune and tweak and refine this model to be really conducive to Connections and also to be something that's scalable on a national level?
This is what we want to do. As a national growth, we want to take what we're learning and share it with everybody.
It's organizations, it's individuals. We have some that are already interested in taking this to other markets across the country. And Connections serves as this hub. If you think about a bicycle wheel or the wheel of a car, and as the hub, we do a lot of the heavy lifting. We provide a lot of the marketing support, the resources, the tools, the kit, all the information needed to successfully start a Connections gathering. And we have resources for individuals, we have resources for organizations, and that product line, as we call it, is only going to be expanding here in the future. And so if somebody wants to start a Connections gathering, we will help and support them every step of the way.
The genesis is in Carson, and we're learning and growing here, but we're going to change the country.